Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to it if you're new here. My name's Brooke. I'll be your hostess this evening. We are in pajamas, pajama party as always. Let's get started on drawing a teapot. So I have imported my free reference picture that I got from Unsplash. I'll have it linked in the description if you guys want to snag this exact one. It is free to use for commercial use purposes, so that's what we're doing here. I'm going to be drawing on my iPad in Procreate. I just have it being airplayed to my computer, so you're not going to see me drawing, but I promise I am drawing on my tablet. I'm using my new Moft. Let's see if you can see it. Ignore how dirty. Nope, that's me. Ignore how dirty my desk is, but I'm using my Moft. It's the Dynamic Moft Folio case. This thing's so awesome. There's so many different like configurations you can do for the iPads. You can even do like portrait, which is awesome. My daughter loves watching her tablet in like portrait mode like that, but her case that she had before didn't support portrait mode, but these ones do, so it's really cool. And there's different ones you can use for drawing, which is great. But let's get into it. I'll link that in the bio if you guys want to take a look. I do have a discount. I am an affiliate for them, but like it's because I actually use their stuff and I love them. But let's get going with this little drawing tutorial. So we're going to use our little selection tool up at the top left right here. And we're going to grab our teapot using the freehand section, whatever, and make sure color fills off. Otherwise, it's going to fill it and you'll be like, what is happening? So just loosely grab the teapot. Make sure you don't cut anything off like I think I just did, but you're going to grab it and then you're going to use 3 fingers, 1, 2, 3, to swipe down on your screen to get this menu to come up, and you're going to hit cut and paste. Now, if that menu doesn't come up, I believe, let me do this again. I believe you could just hit copy and paste on the bottom right here. Copy and paste, and it'll do the same thing. Now you can get rid of that layer because we don't need it anymore, and we have our little reference. I'm going to turn snapping and magnetics off because those are annoying when we're sketching. And then I'm going to make it as big as my canvas. Now I am using 3600 pixels with 300 dpi on RGB. Let me pull it up, that way I have the right information for you. The color profile, sRGB at E6. This is the one that I recommend you guys use. So it's like this second option here is what I use when I do my canvases. So we're good to go. We're ready to start doing a sketch. So this is just a sketch layer, so don't panic or cry. We're going to, on our teapot layer, we're going to hit the N right here, and then we're going to slide the opacity way down just to wherever you feel comfortable with. That way we can still see it, but it's not going to get in the way of us drawing. And then we're going to make a new layer, which is just hitting the plus right here. I already did that, that's why it's there. And then we're going to grab a sketch brush. Now my favorite sketch brush right now is the dry ink brush. I have a modified dry ink brush in my Brooke's favorite like brush pack, but you can also find it, I think it's in the drawing section. I don't know. Okay, it's in inking. It's in inking if you want to use the dry ink brush. Mine might look a little bit different because I have modified it, but like, you know, it'll get you there. And then you're just going to pick a random color that you want to use for sketching. I like to use either like a bright red, or sometimes I'll use like a bright pink, but something like kind of bright and obnoxious for the sketch layer. We're going to trace this, and it's a sketch layer, so, you know, treat it as a sketch layer. We're going to just be loosey-goosey with everything. We're going to just follow like shapes. We're not going to take ourselves seriously because this isn't serious, okay? We're just having fun. And then I'm just going to make that part up because I cut it off. But I want it to kind of be like a wavy thing that like matches this part right here. So then we're going to grab this part And you can be, you know, you can add these details if you want, or if you don't want to put them in, then don't do that. Sorry, my cat just knocked something off my desk. How rude of him. My daughter has a little saying. She's 6, and I think I don't remember what she was talking about, but she said, "How rude of you, how dumb of you." And now that's been like the saying to say in our house whenever something like that happens. So I wanted to say that to my cat right now. How rude of him, how dumb of him. Okay. That's getting there. We're sketching it. And now we're going to do this part, which is kind of a little tricky because there's multiple things happening here, but we're just going to kind of go with the flow. So we have the top of the lid that starts to disappear right here and turn into the rim of the teapot. And I'm going to have my rim be like its own color. So that's why I'm doing like a double line right here. Because it's going to have like a color. You'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean. And then we're going to do this. And for mine, I'm just going to keep it round. This is like a flower, and if you want to trace that part and make it a flower, you can. But I'm just going to do this. And that is my teapot sketch. Believe it or not, because we're done. So now what you can do with this, see how there's cute little like flowers. So if you wanted to put those flowers, you could sketch like some flowers right there. But I like to decorate my teapots, you know, how I want to, because the point isn't to just copy that picture. It's to do your own thing. This is just if you maybe couldn't freehand a teapot, because I can't freaking freehand a teapot. So now I'm going to go in and kind of just clean things up. Now that the picture is turned off, we can kind of correct anything that maybe doesn't look right as a sketch, which, you know, that part wasn't, it didn't like match over here. So I'm just kind of going over it to make it look a little bit nicer. And maybe like extend it a little so that it matches over here, you know? So this is our sketch layer. Now we can, if you think you might use this teapot for different designs, you can go ahead and start like on the next step, which is to start like filling it in and coloring it in and everything. And we can leave this as kind of like a template. If you guys make Procreate brushes, you could even like do a little black outline of this and turn this into a stamp. I mean, if you make stamps. But if you wanted to do like a theme with your teapot, now would be the time to do that. I just recommend doing it on a new layer or saving this one and then making a new canvas. That way you still have this original teapot if you want to come back and use it again. So like if you wanted to make this one like spooky with like ghosts and bats and stuff. Oh God, let's see. I can't freehand a bat. We're going to pretend that that's a bat. I can't freehand a bat to save my life. One day I'll get there. I've drawn so many, and you think I would like have it down. Like books, I have those down. I can do those without, look, I'll show you in case you don't believe me. In case you don't believe me, like, well, minus that part, I guess maybe I can't. Like I've gotten books down for the most part, like doing a little thing like that. But bats, I have to trace that shape every time. I can't do it. I just can't. So we're going to pretend that's a bat. And then maybe like, I don't know, we'll still put flowers on there. And then maybe like a pumpkin. And don't judge me. These are just really rough sketches to kind of like, just to kind of get an idea of like what you would want to maybe do. Or just this is how you could like style your your teapot. You know, they kind of have little like things here and there. So if you wanted to make it a spooky teapot, you could do it like that. But we're keeping that on a separate layer. Oops, all on a separate layer. That way, if you wanted to do like the one that I did as a cottagecore teapot, you can do that too. So just an idea for you guys. If you want to do anything. Oh my God, I got to sneeze. Am I going to actually sneeze? I don't think it's going to happen. I am going to take a drink of my coffee though. Do you guys want to watch me do it? You can watch me. Usually I pause, but I don't know. For some reason, I wanted you guys there with me. It's August. It's spooky season for me. If you can't see my shirt, I'm already like, it's spooky season. I got my ghosty mug. We're drawing spooky things. I really want to do a spooky version. Like, let me show you guys the finished thing so you can kind of see like what's going on with that. Where is it? Right here. So this one I did like a cottagecore. This is my seamless pattern. So I turned all of my drawings into like a repeatable file like this using my little teapots. And I did like strawberries and lemons. And so it's like fruity. But you can do whatever theme you want for your teapots. This is just what I did for mine. And I actually teach how to make seamless files if you guys wanted to learn. I'll link the description. I'll link it in the description. I'll link it in the description if you guys want to learn from me how to make seamless patterns. This is another thing I did for my seamless patterns. We're going to worry about that later. But back to the teapot. Now that we have this layer, we're going to drop it down again. Make a new layer. And if you want to keep the spooky stuff, you can. I don't know. We'll keep it on there and we'll decide what I want to do. Ignore my dog. And now we want to decide what brush we're going to use as our main brush. And we can still use the dry ink brush because I actually love that as a finished one as well. But we want to decide kind of what style we're going to go for. And for this, I might do like a black outline. And I don't know. It's been a while since I've used the studio pen and like done a drawing like this. So I don't know. Maybe we'll use it and we'll see what happens. So we're going to trace this, but now what we are doing matters. So we want to have a steady hand. And if you need help with that, if you just tap on your brushes and you go over to stabilization right here and you change the streamline and the stabilization, your pen will be a lot smoother. I have a fairly shaky hand, so if this was all 0, like it will not end well. So I like to bump all of my stuff up a lot. That way I'm getting these like smoother curvy lines and it's not wavy and looks like a toddler drew it. Not that there's anything wrong with toddler art, but since I am not a toddler, I don't want it to look like a toddler drew it. So we're just kind of going in, and I should probably follow the curves of this. That makes the most sense. We're gonna fix this guy. Change my eraser type because it was on the dry ink brush. And that's why it did that. Okay, and we're just gonna go. We're gonna keep going. And fix any little mishaps like this. So yeah, we're starting to get the outline finished, and this is what we're going to color in. So we're kind of like creating a coloring book right now, a coloring page, not a whole book. And I'm going to fill all of this and then we'll come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, so we have our little outlines all traced out. I'm going to get rid of the outlines. I did go ahead and do the spooky stuff just so you can see kind of how that looks on the teapot when we do a finished thing. So, and I did freehand those bats, believe it or not, which is why maybe they look so silly. I don't know, but we're going to go with it. And now we're going to color it in. So I have my, what am I saying? I don't know. I have my my sketch layer turned off. I'm going to create a new layer underneath my outline layer and I'm going to start coloring it in. And I'm going to pick what I want to use. And I think I want to use my tinderbox brush. This is my favorite modified tinderbox, or my favorite modified brush that I have. Oh my God, I feel like I have to sneeze again. Hold on. Okay, sorry. We're ready to keep going. So I'm going to use this like periwinkle blue. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to use this color. It's like a purpley, bluey, gray-y color, and I'm going to color it in. Now, because my tinderbox brush is textured, I do have to manually color this all in. But if you were using any kind of solid brush and you're wanting this to be more of like a solid cartoony style, you could just color drop this in. You would just set your outline as a reference and then use a new layer and color drop the color in. But because my tinderbox brush has a little bit of texture, I'm not going to do that. And I'm just going to color everything in and use it as like a background color too for everything. So I'm not worried about like not coloring the bats or not coloring the pumpkins. I'm just going to layer, like I'm just going to end up layering my color on top of it. So my point right now is to just get this whole thing full of color, and I'm not even worried about staying in the lines because I'm just going to go backwards. I'm going to go back afterwards. That's what I meant to say. And erase anything that was outside the lines. So it's okay to still be messy. This is my favorite part about digital art. Like my daughter's always trying to get me to draw on paper with her. And I'm like, girlfriend, I suck at drawing on paper. Like, please let me draw on my iPad while you can draw on paper. Let me draw on my iPad. That way I can fix any mistakes that I have because I'm constantly making them. And then I get to the point where I'm so used to drawing on my iPad that I'll like try and undo on paper. I'll like double tap the paper to undo before I realize what I've done. And then I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't actually work here. And if you're doing like a light color like this, it might be easier to turn off the background. That way you can see where things are going over the lines, because it's easy to miss when it's a light color. So we're just going to go in and clean everything up for a nice look. Fill in anything. Fill in anything. I said fill in anything we missed. And just do all of this. Would it have been faster to maybe color inside the lines in the first place? I don't know. I feel like this is faster. I have ADHD, so I feel like if I can complete steps, then that's like a little dopamine hit. So like step 1 was color it in, not color it in perfectly. Now this, I mean, that's not step 1. That's like step whatever. I don't know. But then the next step is to go in and erase it. So it helps me create more, but do whatever works best for you. Okay, so we have everything good. Now the next step is to decide my little accent color. So like I was saying, I want this part of the teapot to be a different color. Usually I do gold. So let's kind of see what that looks like against this purple. And maybe I want to do this instead. Oops. Pick my original one. Okay, hold on. This always gives me issues. I have to be like so specific with how I grab this freaking color. Otherwise, it just wants to grab the next one over. So if this happens to you, it's not just you. Sometimes using your finger works better, but sometimes it doesn't. But like, this is really, truly crazy. I need that exact yellow. Let me pause it until I can grab it. If you guys have any tips on how, okay, now we got it, kind of. It moved it a little bit, but this is going to be enough. But if you guys have any tips on how to grab that freaking color without it doing that, I would, I am all ears, because every single time it does that and it's obnoxious. So I was using the color harmonies in Procreate. This just makes sure that this yellow is going to vibe with this specific blue, purple, periwinkle, whatever color. Yeah, I like that. So now we're going to just color this part in. So I'm going to color everything that I want to be gold, and then I'm going to come back to the next step. So color it in, and you can like fix the stuff as you go, or you can go back and do it afterwards. Either way, I'll see you when this is done. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you guys, now that you have your base layer, and I forgot the whole reason that I do that, I'm just like la la la, just vibing, is so that you can do a clipping mask to that. Now you don't have to worry about going outside the lines, because you can't. You're only going to draw where the purple is, where you've already colored in. So that makes all the other steps way easier. You don't have to be as like precise, but like for instance right here, come on, it lagged, I'm sorry. Right here you see there's like not yellow right there, so that's because I didn't have that blue right there. So if I go in with blue, it's going to fill it with yellow. I know that feels weird, but it's because of this clipping mask. So you just tap on the layer and then select clipping mask, and whatever is underneath it, it's going to clip to, and it makes it a lot easier. So the only thing I'll have to do is just fix up these little spots right there where I'm going in between, like where the purple is. And then, oops. And then I just saw there was a little purple to do. So that is what I want to do for the gold. Oh, I do want to do a little trim down here too. I forgot to do that on my initial like drawing. Did I use the script or the studio? I don't know, but I'm just gonna, it's kind of the same thing. I'm just gonna go back in, and we're going to add the trim to that. So I did that on that main layer, and now I'm gonna go back with my yellow, and I'm going to go back with my tinderbox brush, and I'm going to now color that in. And then we're going to move on to the next color. So I could also, no, I'm going to use white, but I'm going to color in the flowers this yellow, because it's good yellow to have right there, and it's important to kind of use the same colors to kind of keep everything like, I just keep wanting to say copacetic, and to keep it all like goodly. So now we are on to needing another color, and I'm gonna do white for the ghosty. So I'm just gonna color that in, but right now we're just very much in the coloring in stage. We're just treating this as if it's a coloring book, and we're picking our colors that we want to color with. Imagine that. That's crazy, right? And I think this is the only thing. Oh no, I want the flowers to be white also. So I'm going to color in the flowers white. And I don't think this is actually pure white. Yeah, it's not. I'm going to alpha lock my layer and then hit fill. And then that changes it to the current color that I was using. So that makes sure, and I'm going to put this under my yellow because I want the yellow part of the flower to show through. But that will change all of the current color that you're using to whatever you color filled in, using that alpha lock and then color drop, fill layer, whatever I said. And we're just coloring in. We're just coloring it in. Just like that. And then every single time you do a new color, make a new layer. I promise you won't regret it. You won't regret that. So now we still need to do the pumpkins, which I'm going to take my blue again, go to Harmony, and let's see if I can find kind of like an orangey color. These are all like too close. This might be my best shot. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. We're going to do this again. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends, you guys. Oh, I grabbed it. I grabbed it. Okay. And it's like a peachy-ish color. I swear. Using the color harmonies in Procreate is great, but like actually being able to grab them is going to be the bane of my existence. So that's good. We're going to color this one in. I'm going to finish like coloring everything in. I think all that's left is the bats. And then we'll go on to the next step because you don't need to see me coloring. Okay, so we'll go on to the next step. Okay, we have our little teapot totally filled in, and we can actually, I think I want to make this the darker color right here too because it's like a shadow. Come on, quit lagging, get it together. So now like this is a finished thing if you want it to be, but we can keep going and keep adding more details. So it just depends on your drawing style and what you want to do. But if you love the cartoon look, like this is done, maybe just add some highlights. Sorry, my nose is itchy. And if not, then we can move on to the next step. So one thing I am noticing is my line weight right here is thinner than what I used right there. So, and right here. And I do want to fix that. So I'm just going to go back to my outline layer, go back to my studio pen, and I'm just going to trace it again, pressing down a little bit harder. The next step is optional. Let's get into it. We are going to do the fun part, which is shading. So I'm starting with shading this purple color. So I'm going to create a new layer that's directly on top of it, still clip to it. It doesn't mess with anything we've clipped to it so far. I'm going to go back into my tinderbox brush, just the brush that I was using, grab the color that I had, and then I'm going to go over to the left and down a little bit. And this is where the shading is going to happen. So anywhere where like maybe it should be a little bit darker, we're going to put the color on, and like maybe right here, because maybe that's a shadow. Maybe right there, just because. That doesn't really do it. Maybe here and here. And then we'll just do right there. Now, just watch the next step, okay? If you like this style of shading where it's like a not a thick line, but like an obvious line, do a better job than what I did. But because I'm going to Gaussian blur this, I don't need to have a perfect like style with that. But that's also a style too, is just being messy. But we're going to Gaussian blur it. So we're going to go to the adjustments thing right here, go down to Gaussian blur. And then with our pen on the screen, we're going to tap and hold and then start dragging to the right to get this blurring effect happening. And that's how you get this beautiful looking shading without having to actually like do anything for it. So we're going to do the same for the gold. So we're going to go up and do a clipping mask, and that should still work on top of there. We're going to grab that yellow that we were using and go over to the right to grab this like more solid, like darker color. And we're going to draw. We're going to draw with it. And I'm just kind of putting it on random spots on here. And then the same with down there. And same thing, we're going to go to adjustments, go to Gaussian blur, and we're going to blur it out. That way it blends a little bit more. And now we're going to do, this is like optional, but we can do the same thing. Let's get rid of any overspray on there. If you want to, with your highlight color, we can do like a fun color that doesn't necessarily like make sense for it. So I'm going to go back to my main like body right here, and I'm going to grab like a pink color. So I'm going to grab this one because I already know that it goes together with that one. You can use your harmonies to kind of like grab different colors if it'll let you, but it's not letting me right now. But we're going to make sure we're on a new layer, and we can kind of put that where we want like highlights to be, or kind of like where we didn't put the dark color. So kind of just like that. And then maybe we can put like a blotch right here, and we'll see what that does. So then just do the same thing, go to Gaussian blur, and we're going to blend it out. And that just creates a really fun coloring style. I don't know if I necessarily like the blob right there. I'm trying to see if I want it like anywhere else. And you can kind of put it in a random spot, like a little blush. So we could keep it right there if we wanted to. And then if it's too strong, we can go up and we can change the opacity of it. But I think that's cute right there. I'm going to smudge this out a little bit more. So I'm just using my smudge brush, specifically, but like you can use the same, like you can use Tinderbox to smudge it. And then we can do something similar again for the yellow if we want. So with the yellow highlight, we could do maybe like a light green or a blue. Let's try this blue actually. So I have my new layer. I have it clipped. I'm going to just put it on the tops of what I did. Gonna go to Gaussian blur, and we're going to blend it and blur it. So it just gives like that extra little fun boost of color. So we can leave it at that, but in my opinion, we're never done until we do the highlights. The highlights really are what makes things, in my opinion. So we're going to just kind of add little white highlights where we think they should go. And you might need to kind of watch some highlight courses or something to kind of start to get an idea of like where, but pretty much anything the light touches can be a highlight. And already it's looking really cute. And I like doing these little like lines with the dot. That's an art style. That's a technique you can do. You don't have to. I don't know. And it's okay if it doesn't always make sense. Like this is a shadow down there. So like maybe it doesn't make sense to have like a highlight right there, but we're going to do it anyway, okay? Because it's my drawing and I'll do what I want. Trying to figure out where to put those. And then to make it look extra glossy, we can take a new layer and we can kind of draw this like window shape. And we can Gaussian blur that. And then kind of move it over like wherever we think would be shiniest. And then if that's too white, we can, let's see, any of these blend modes will work. Maybe a soft light. That way it's not so like in your face. Or we could put it like right there. But that's like an optional little thing. See, I think it should be over here. But then it kind of washes out the pumpkin. So I don't know. It's an optional thing you can do to kind of give it like a more of a shiny, like reflective look. And then my last little detail that I like to do is I like to add these little, I call them freckles, these little like triple things. So I'll do it in white, and then I will also do it in the darker color. That one's not dark enough. Was it this color or was that the one I'm using? Okay, let me go back to the original color and then go over here. Yeah, because I want it to show up against the dark. So yeah, it's just like a cute little thing. Just kind of add little dots, little freckles, I call them. And that's my little teapot. I don't like that shiny part right there, so I'm not going to do that. But you get my drift with it. You get my point. And then if you want to make any adjustments, like if you want to blur, this is my blurred layer. So if I want to blur it even more, oh, I did it on the same layer. I did my dots on the same layer as that. So I'm not going to do that, but that's how you draw like that. And it's a lot of fun. And now you can go ahead and, turn this into a sticker, make it clip art, turn it into a seamless pattern like what I was showing you here. But I'm obsessed. Like, I love that. I'm probably going to do something with that. I've been wanting to do a spooky teapot. Here's like another thing that I was working on, my little cottagecore snail teacups. But there's just so many fun things you can do with art, with seamless files, with digital art in general. Like I said, if you want to learn how to do seamless files, I do have a course on it. I'll link it in the description. And if you already know how to make seamless files, but you want to learn how to make them maybe like this, I am coming out with a brand new Seamless Files Advanced course. As of right now, August 7th, it is on pre-order. I'll link it in the description. You guys will get like a discounted price at pre-order. It launches for real next week, like probably on the 11th. So if it's after August 11th, the price will be higher and it will be released for real, not like a pre-order price. But you will learn how to make this exact pattern, how to make patterns like this. It's a lot of fun, but I hope you guys had fun making your little teapots, and I would love to be tagged if you guys make these because it's so much fun. But make sure you like and subscribe and comment and share and whatever, and I'll see you guys in my other videos.